Swipe to the left, swipe to the right. The best wedding app brings your dreams to life.
The Best Wedding App.
Welcome to the Best Wedding App podcast.
Well, hey there, party planners and lovebirds-to-be. Welcome to another episode of the Best Wedding App podcast. Now, seriously, get ready to be wowed because we're sitting down with the one and only Chanel Olive, a true powerhouse in the world of events and weddings. Now, look, she's not just your average MC. She's a seasoned pro with over 5 years experience, gracing the stage of major TV networks and brands in Australia and the Philippines. She's dropped some mic magic at the CSIRO and she's brought her A game to 101.9 the Fox. She's a model, she's an actress, she's a content creator, she's an MC. Oh, and actually, did I mention that she's the former Miss Philippines? Talk about a multi-talented superstar. So get ready, strap yourselves in, and welcome, Chanel.
Thanks so much. That is the sweetest bio I've ever had.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, jeepers, there's a lot to write about.
And it's still ongoing, which is crazy, but I love that.
It's super exciting when you read all those things about yourself. Do you sometimes go, oh, all right?
It's actually crazy. I feel like I have to remind myself that I do everything because sometimes you just forget about it and you're like, well, I actually am doing a lot, but I like things that I really love and I'm passionate about, but you're just so present in the moment, just living it, you kind of forget, if that makes sense.
A crazy calendar of like, what am I doing today?
Oh, every day is a different day.
I bet. And do you have like an agency? Like, does somebody take care of your modeling stuff, etc.?
Yeah. So I've got an agency that handles my modeling, and they also do some acting for me as well and content stuff. So
Okay.
that's Brooklyn Management in Melbourne, Australia. And I also am supported by a Melbourne entertainment company for MC work as well as freelancing my own Chanel Olive MC business. So I've got those two things going on, and I've got an agency in Singapore as well.
Oh, wow.
So I'm branching out like Southeast Asia, and I've got, still my connections back home in the Philippines. So I'm kind of everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you travel a lot then?
That is the goal post-COVID because my husband is also from Malaysia.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I'll be able to be based here in Melbourne and then just fly back and forth to all these beautiful places.
Oh my God. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Are both of your families in the Philippines?
So he is from Malaysia, and then my extended family's in the Philippines. My mum is from there. So she was born and raised there, and then I went over there when I was older, and yeah, it became my other home. So yeah, I'm pretty blessed to have so many homes everywhere.
Totally. Now, you just got married. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
It looked magical. So let me hit you with some questions about your wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, can you share the most memorable moment from your wedding and also kind of like your wedding planning journey in terms of, did one supplier make it easier than the others for you? Who were your suppliers?
Yeah, okay, so I'll start off first because that's about 3 questions. So I'll break it down to the first question. I would say the most memorable part of my wedding, I think, is having, honestly, everyone we love in one spot. It was the first time seeing everyone I've known throughout all my seasons of life in one time.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was so special for them to meet my husband and our families to come together and just everyone in one spot. Like my bridal shower, my wedding.
Spot? Where was your wedding?
Yeah, so we got married at Emu Bottom Homestead, which honestly, highly, highly, highly recommend. I didn't want the cookie cutter meal of just like, do you want chicken? Do you want fish? I wanted like buffet style, and they gave this Italian grazing, and I'm half Asian, so they had risotto, and I was like, okay, that is rice for me, so I am so happy. I was like, I eat rice at my wedding.
Awesome.
So it was a beautiful venue, indoor, outdoor options, stunning location, kind of farmlandish. So there was a bit of sheep there and stuff. But it was perfect for us because if there was any weather issues, we'd have a beautiful indoor option as well. But the weather was perfect.
Lucky.
Yeah. And I also had my bridal shower at Botanical Gardens the day before, which
man.
was so special at the terrace outside, and again, beautiful weather.
Wow.
Just
You're lucky in Melbourne to have beautiful weather for both things.
yeah, it was honestly, it was crazy because the lead up, typical Melbourne, just pouring, cold, like just beyond. But I trust the app Weather Zone, and I was like, Weather Zone tells me it's going to be fine. I'm holding on to this truth. And my celebrant, he was like, it has never rained on a day I've done a wedding. And I was like, I receive that. It's not going to rain. So I would say that was a really memorable part, and also collaborating with Mason Wee and Jeanette as well for like jewelry and accessories was this awesome thing as well. So I think I had the most, I don't know, I feel like I had the really perfect wedding experience.
So Jeanette Marie is an accessory company based in
Yeah.
Melbourne, but obviously they post all over the world.
Yeah.
What did you wear of hers?
Yeah, so she styled me actually. Her and Mason Wee styled me throughout all my wedding journey, essentially. So I was very fortunate. Starting from my engagement shoot, I got dressed by We the Label, so that's from Mason Wee, and they dressed me for my engagement shoot, even with a collaboration with Jeanette Marie, and then also my bridal shower and my wedding day. So all my gowns is all them, We the Label by Mason Wee. And then Jeanette Marie was all my accessories. So my earrings, my bracelets, everything I'm wearing. Even when I had my bridal shower, I had the most perfect veil. It was from her, and it matched my outfit so well because I had like these pearl sleeves from Mason Wee, and then they also teamed it with that. It was honestly perfect. So everything I wore is essentially from them. Even my wedding shoes is from Jeanette Marie.
Awesome. Yeah. And you mentioned your celebrant. Who was your celebrant?
Tim Michael. So he is actually my pastor when I was going to Hillsong in Melbourne. So I've known him for the longest time, and I studied ministry with him. He was one of my oversights, and he is honestly such a great person. And we did a pre-marriage course before, like pre-marriage counseling, and he just journeyed with my husband and I. And yeah, it was honestly just, it was, I had a really, amazing
that's beautiful.
experience.
I just got some goosebumps. It's real because do you know what? And I'm going to have Holly Faye on the podcast in a few months. But she's a counselor, a wedding counselor, and not a lot of people actually go down that journey. I mean, as a celebrant, we have to provide you with the pamphlet, the happy before and after, and we have to, tell you that here's a list of people we recommend, etc. But not often do people do that. And it was beautiful to hear you say that you valued that and it was important for you.
110%. Because his viewpoint was, like, I can't marry you unless we do this, because I need to make sure that you guys are healthy for each other. It's the right thing as well, for not just like him, but also for us as a couple. So it was good to journey through that and ask the hard questions, and grow together through it to our wedding day, and also know that we have support like for the rest of our life from him. So that was very valuable for us, and he was just so supportive.
Amazing. And photographer, videographer, who did you have?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, our videographer, AJR Films.
Oh, beautiful.
Most beautiful couple.
They do beautiful work.
Oh my gosh, Anthony and Gracie, I cannot rate them highly enough. Like, just beyond, like, I think having them two together just made the most perfect thing, because on the day she kind of is aware of the detailed stuff that Anthony might miss, as well as vice versa. So they're just there picking up everything, and they just made our family, everyone just feel so welcomed, and they're behind the scenes, and you see the film and like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like, you must have like obviously seen their work already, but you're able to feel all the emotions every step of the way. So when you watch the film, like, we're not sharing it publicly yet, we've just shared our preview, keeping it private at the moment. But like, when you watch it, even our preview, you can feel like you're reliving every moment again. And that's why we hired them. So I loved that.
Yes, and you know what? Some people don't get it. Like, I'll say, and are you having a videographer? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh gosh, because it's so different when you hear your voice and you see yourself throughout the day. And then you can't redo that moment, and then that moment is gone.
It's so quick. It goes so quick. Everyone getting married, it goes so quick.
Yes.
And like you go and you'll miss moments. So for example, we had a live acoustic duo, you know, and like I didn't even hear anything, but I'm
Yeah.
glad I can relive it through the
Yeah.
film. And
Yes.
even like moments like that, like behind the scenes when you're shooting together and stuff, you're not seeing those things.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that we get to relive it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
beautiful. So, and who was your photographer?
Liz Barnes, and she's
Oh,
so
beautiful.
lovely. She does
Oh,
very like she captures very candid, authentic moments and very natural.
yes.
So that was really, really great to have them. Yeah.
So, Emu Bottom, amazing venue, amazing choice. What inspired your choice? Was it the fact that you could have the food that you wanted, and it was a covered area for you should the rain be terrible on the day, etc.?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't want to do the winery kind of vibe. I felt like everyone kind of did the winery vibe when I think of Melbourne, and I was like, oh, I don't know what we should do. I also don't really want to do Melbourne City because I lived through the pandemic here. So it was like for me, I want to make it feel like we've gone somewhere. We haven't just been at work all week and then we just woke up one day and got married and then went back to work. So I think I wanted a bit of separation, but also close enough for our guests because most of our guests flew in, that we didn't want them to have to book additional accommodation outside of Melbourne. We wanted them to enjoy Melbourne and just come out for the day. So we made it somewhere that was only about a 15-minute drive from the city so that we could organize buses for them and they could just be transported back and forth.
Yeah.
So that was a big consideration as well. But overall, it ended up being the only venue that we fell in love with because we were borderline going to do Bali. Borderline going to do Bali.
Sure.
But thankfully, Emu Bottom came, and they're also very like at a good price point too. FYI for those getting married.
Yes,
There's
and for those
something.
who don't know, it's actually in Sunbury, so it's just kind of
Yes.
past the airport. So that's when Chanel's talking about it's not too far.
Yeah.
And beautifully run.
Yes, beautifully run.
Yeah.
Really, really great. We just, yeah, very positive. And we didn't do ours in the barn, we did ours in the homestead because there's two venue options.
Yeah.
But don't worry, there's no lap over. We didn't see anyone else at the barn or anything. We didn't see those guests. It was very private.
And was there another wedding on the same day as yours?
I don't even know. I didn't even check, but I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything.
That's so great to know, because I actually did a wedding at the Botanic Gardens through the week,
Yeah.
and there was another wedding on the other lawn across the lake, and we could hear their acoustic duo singing like they were at the wedding that I was doing whilst the wedding was going on. And it's kind of one of those things like you can't, they knew that there was another wedding happening, but it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I can't ask them across the lake to shut the music off because we're in the middle of a ceremony.
Yeah.
So that's so good that, you weren't. Speaking of challenges, did you have any challenges or was it seamless?
Oh, actually, I would say majority of like the experience going to the wedding was pretty seamless. Obviously, there's like the pre-wedding planning and stuff, and it's two people coming together with different versions of planning stuff. I'm having to like collaborate and figure out what works. But overall, I felt like it went really seamless. Like we were very supported by our parents and stuff and our family, and everyone was willing to help us. And we were very fortunate and blessed to have people that we were also collaborating with on our wedding day.
Yeah.
So I felt like, from my own personal experience, that I got my dream wedding, engagement, like everything.
That's
all in
incredible.
one.
I mean, you're a unique case. That doesn't happen for everybody. But yes, how beautiful for you that how many dresses did you wear, by the way?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I was really content just having one gown. I thought like, I'm in Australia. I don't really have the connections like I had when I was in the Philippines, because in the Philippines is a very collaborative country. Like designers, we always just support each other. Whereas in Australia, I'm still building my name here. So I didn't really go into wedding dress shopping to go, oh, I'm going to get like a collaboration, whatever. I was like, I'm just happy to, like, my parents are going to buy me a dress. Like, we're just going to get a dress. But then when I met Jen at Mason Wee, who was absolutely amazing. She's just like had this beautiful heart and vision for my wedding. And she just made, like, honestly, all my dreams come true. And then all these people I met along the way, like the people that I collaborated with, even for our engagement shoot, Allegria, there's also this videographer, photographer duo, also really, really amazing. Yeah, just everyone just, yeah, I don't know, it just all
How
came
beautiful.
together, and even their vision for me was what I wanted. And even the
generous.
makeup artists and the hair people I collaborated with, like Steph and Marlene, like everyone. Oh my god.
Who was your hair and makeup artist?
So on the day itself, her Instagram is, I'll get it for you later.
Yeah,
I'll give you specific, like the tags and everything.
Yes, we'll
but
run a blog about your wedding, and we'll include all of the suppliers so that.
Yeah, because I collaborated with a lot of people. So for my wedding day, I hired her for my wedding day. I've known her for a while though.
Yeah.
But we've worked together in the past and stuff, and she just has the most beautiful spirit, and she made my family feel so comfortable.
Oh,
So comfortable. Like, she was such a blessing.
Now, obviously, you're from sort of two different cultures. Did you incorporate anything cultural in your weddings or unique elements? Like, you obviously, I'm assuming, wrote your own vows.
Yeah, we wrote our own vows, like values. We wrote, it is our
Oh, your values are in your vows.
We wrote our own vows, and our celebrant made sure to go over it. And he was like, just wanting to ensure that, we are on the kind of same wavelength, that one is like a kind of similar timing as well. So we wrote our own vows and everything, which was really nice. But yeah.
Yeah, so no other like blessings or anything like that in the ceremony.
Oh, we did do, so my partner, because he's Chinese Indian, but his mum is Chinese, so we honored her by doing a tea ceremony during the ceremony. So it was really nice, and my parents were included in that as well. So we wanted to initially dress up. That's what I really wanted to as well, but in the end, I think just the time, we're like, no, we didn't want to see each other prior to the wedding either. We're like, we'll just have it during the ceremony and have it before we even begin. So I literally walked down the aisle. We had our tea ceremony and stuff.
You didn't do the inclusion, which I think is amazing, where they like pin the red packets on your dress in your dance.
Oh my gosh, isn't that amazing? We did get given red packets.
Did you? I love a red packet. Even if it's like 30 cents, I still love a red packet.
Yeah, but then there was nothing in our red packets because our parents already were so generous of us. So I was like, I was like to my dad, my mom, like, you do not need to give us anything. Like,
give us a red packet with just like a cutout heart in it. That's cool.
Yeah. But we also had our wedding cake was pandan pandan and kaya. So it was like this Malaysian cake. It was so good. Yeah. Again, supplies, everyone, we'll give a list because there's so many people. I don't want to get their name handles wrong or anything.
Yeah, please. We'll incorporate that in a blog. Tell us your top tips for couples getting married.
Yeah. I would say as soon as you get engaged, book your venue if you want to get married in a year. Yeah, because it is honestly already booked out. Like, to get the right date, it's a bit of a mission, but even us, we booked the date and then it was double booked. So then we had to change our date. So my date ended up being on my mum's birthday.
Oh, wow. She would have loved that.
Yeah. So we said, we wished her happy birthday in our speech as well. So it ended up being like that. But it was good though, because our weather was amazing. So we were very blessed.
And what was the weather like on the other day?
Oh my gosh. So end of October, we got 23.3 degrees. And as I walked out,
the double book day. What about
the double book day? Oh, I haven't checked.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I'm not gonna lie, I honestly, after we got married, I compared every other Saturday for October and November, just to compare if any date was better. And I think we had like one of the best dates for weather. And I was like, okay.
So good.
This is so good. It's honestly Melbourne people, the weather here, you can't
risk anything, but people do. Listen to the suppliers when they tell you, and what's your backup plan? And you go, I don't have one. And they go, oh gosh, you need one. Listen to them.
Yeah, even we were friends on the weekend and they were saying to us, they got married December. It was raining, and that's summer. So you honestly cannot,
No, it's crazy. The weather just changes like the wind for sure. So book your venue, book a videographer. Any other tips?
Oh, and book photographer. So we booked our videographer, photographer, and venue all at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then procrastinated for a few months. And that's okay, guys. You can procrastinate, enjoy your engagement, all of that jazz, but then have a plan.
Yeah.
You know, think about the things that you need. And I think working as a couple, having meetings, like not like it's like a wedding meeting, right? Every other weekend to make sure that you kind of you know what you need to do to organize a wedding. And if you
Yeah.
haven't done one before, honestly, you can go to Google, like you can search it, it will tell you what you kind of need.
Yeah.
And then from there, slowly ticking things off. That was
Yes.
really helpful.
And so
Really
no
helpful.
unexpected surprises apart from the fact that you had to change your wedding date because it was double booked.
That happened at the very start. And besides that, I would say, oh, maybe like, you know, I had a couple close friends who couldn't come in the end. And also one couple last minute couldn't come again. All very valid reasons, FYI. Still love them all very much. But those things you can't really plan for. So that means if you've done your table seating chart, FYI, table seating charts take the longest thing to do because of this stuff and dietaries and stuff, right? You just have to be very flexible to go through and just reorganize it again and that kind of stuff.
And you know, we're in that day and age where COVID pops up, and you know, please don't come to my wedding if you have COVID. Like,
yeah, we
but,
actually
like,
we didn't even say that. I feel like we trusted our guests that they would know. Like,
I think people risk it still though, and I'm like, you know, if there's elderly grandparents there or whatever,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, you don't actively walk into a house of gastro and be like, "Yay, this is cool."
yeah. Well, we had one person, she couldn't come, like literally, I think then her husband told my now husband the day before, or maybe the night before. And again, she was sick. So then that's awesome that she was able to tell us that and everything in advance.
Yeah.
But I will say when it comes to the table sitting chart, having your son and people not coming, don't freak out that you have to wipe them out or whatever, because you can go, because I don't know about everyone else, but for us doing our table seating chart and our name cards, we did it ourselves on Etsy.
Yeah.
We just bought the templates and then we had printed it all off at Office Works. So then when we had about like one couple who couldn't come last minute, we were fortunate because we already had another beautiful couple we wanted to invite. But we were trying to keep our wedding quite small to 100. So we had to like be a bit tight with who we invited and everything, because most people were prioritizing were the ones that could fly in because we had known them the longest. Anyway, we were able to just go to Office Work and you can use the Dymo, which is the little machine thingy, and just print out new name things and just put it over your table seating chart. And yeah, great, perfect. Don't freak out, just let go of perfection, and you know, you can figure it out as you go.
Yeah, amazing. Now, what was the most rewarding part of your wedding? What was the part that you went back and you got in bed that night and you went, "Oh my gosh, like this was the best."
Ooh, most rewarding. I think marrying my best friend, you know. I think that's the most rewarding. Like he's the guy that I've been praying for and stuff. And, you know, to marry him and then see both of our lives come together in one place. And honestly, a lot of people commented after our wedding that they loved the energy in our room because everyone generally wanted to get to know each other. Because I don't know about you, because sometimes you can go to a wedding and it might be like very disconnected, but we had 2 long tables and it was quite intimate. And we had outdoor options so people could go around and mingle. And it was just nice to see everyone genuinely want to get to know one another and meet each other from all our seasons. That was really beautiful to see.
Oh yeah, magic. Where did you meet your partner?
Oh my gosh. So I never thought I would ever join a dating app, but I did during the pandemic.
All right. The same way we work with a swipe.
Yeah, it did. So essentially, I always had this idea that I would meet my guy like just authentically, right? I was like, that's how I envisioned it, that he would pursue me, all this stuff, right? That's how I imagined it. So I was like, he will pursue me, damn it. And then during the pandemic, after the first year, I was open to like you know, maybe potentially meeting someone, but with the whole 5 km radius and the uncertainty of the unknown, right? Like what's happening. I was getting asked out by guys in my 5 km radius who I had no, like, I'm like, this is not what I want for my life.
Yeah.
Like my values are Christian. I wanted someone of the same faith as well. And I was like, I'm just not meeting anyone. What happens? Like, not saying I'm speaking faith that we're going to be locked down forever, but what happens if this is going to go for a while? And it did, right? For another year of like, you know, being in this 5 km radius of like, you know, this is my prime as well. I was like, you know, so I joined Hinge, and you could put this deal breaker on for like what your deal breakers are. So I put like Christian and stuff, and I had a rule where I was like, I'm not going to like the person, they have to like me first. And about a month into it, things were starting to open up during the second year of lockdowns. We had a bit of a break, and I thought we might be easing out of it. So I cancelled the app because the guys, again, who were liking me, I was like, I don't know if I'm vibing with these guys. And like things are open, I'm going to church again. Like things are kind of going back to normal. But then Hinge put my partner and I like as most compatible. And I was like, oh, who's this guy? So I liked it.
After you canceled it? Did you get like
you know when you cancel something and like you still have like 2 weeks left? Like, yeah. So about 2 weeks into it, I already had canceled it. And then I had like another 2 weeks left with the membership. So I had it like finishing off, and then they put Darren and I as most compatible. And I was like, oh, this guy looks quite nice. So I liked the compatibility, but it was up to him to reach out to me. And then he did. And then long story short, found out that the church I started going to that year happened to be his church of like several years. So it was like this weird, like, you know, we would have ended up meeting each other as well. Like, it was just this kind of like, oh, okay, who's this guy?
sliding doors moment?
And then we went back to lockdown together. So my second year, I had an intimacy bubble person.
Right. Oh my God. So what you need, because it's a long, I mean, I had a family at home, but yeah, if you didn't, it would be long and lonely for sure.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your MC life. So how did you get started in the MC world and then the wedding MC world?
Yeah, so growing up in regional far north Queensland, there wasn't really any options when it came to performing, but like maybe modeling. And I kind of fell into modeling. So I thought, okay, this is like, you know, a creative space for me to be in. And then long story short, ended up in the Philippines, and people just loved my personality, and they call it hosting over there. And I just had this natural inclination towards it, and I felt very at home with it. And I really felt like I was more of a personality versus a model. Like modeling for me, like I do it, but I would say I'm more naturally inclined for hosting, like entertaining people, and also just connecting with people. Like that's where I shine. Because I found in the Philippines, the most of the jobs I booked was because of who I was. Like people wanted to work with me more of my brand, of who my personality was and everything like that. So there was the first time where I really thought, oh, this could be a job. Okay. And because there it's like a full-time thing. You can do it as a full-time thing. You host everything, birthday parties, events, TV shows, everything. They always have hosting there.
Wow.
So it's amazing. So that was like awesome. But then when I decided to come back home to Australia, I know it. I know and I realize it's quite niche here. There are TV presenters, but again, it's a bit of a hard, you know, thing to penetrate into unless I felt like you studied journalism, you became a reporter, or you did a reality TV show or something like that, right? And for me, I was like, oh, I don't know if they're my roots to go towards. And I was like, I missed emceeing, but I thought it wasn't something that I could do here. So I studied acting instead. I was like, I'm going to study acting. So I studied acting at NIDA, which was awesome. I was like, I never thought I would act. And I'm like studying at NIDA. I'm like, okay, cool. But then during the pandemic, I just missed emceeing, like hosting, right? Well, emceeing here. I missed it. And I think during the pandemic, the first year for me and the second year was a lot of solitude time. And I was like, God, I feel like you're the God of the impossible. And like, I feel like I feel called for this. I feel like I can do this. I feel like if you are leading me, then I will be able to do it. And I was like, I'm going to make it happen. So just found a way. And then Melbourne Entertainment Company were actually my first people that gave me a shot to go back into what I loved and gave me opportunities. And then I kept meeting people, even during my wedding season, different vendors and stuff, and I'm building my network, and I found myself back in it. And I was like, what is this? But I love it. I'm so passionate about it. So I feel very fortunate that I can do it again, and I'm having the opportunity to work with well-regarded brands and stuff and build my name here. And, especially in weddings, to be a part of weddings on people's special day, it's just such an honor.
Are you going to go down a different route, do you think?
Yeah. I thought about it, but then I think maybe one day, again, because of my own personal experience, having that experience during pre-marriage counseling, and I've studied counseling, so maybe I could offer that as well, right? I feel like I'd want to know the couple very well first before just marrying them. That's kind of my viewpoint on it, because I wouldn't just want to marry anyone. Because I feel like it's a big responsibility to stand up there and say, okay, you guys can get married. I'd want to know, is this a healthy relationship? Is it solid? Will they honor each other? All this kind of stuff. So potentially, I'm not closing the door, but I feel like there's a lot of weight to it that I'd have to think about first, and how I would implement it in a way that I feel like I'm honoring my values and also honoring the couple, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And this is the funny thing, right? Is that sometimes people are like, oh, you're a marriage celebrant, Charis. You just rock up 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you leave.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No.
A lot that goes into it. A lot that goes into it behind the scenes, a lot of legal paperwork, a lot of writing your beautiful story, then delivering your beautiful story in an eloquent way, and then lodging the paperwork, and then the communication after. So it's so lovely for you to hear, for me to hear you say that, because it's, I think oftentimes people don't understand the true role of a celebrant. What's your favorite part apart from your wedding, when you MC a wedding, what's your favorite part of MC?
And thanks for sharing that as well, by the way.
Oh,
I think that's beautiful, because I feel like, just on that point, because I do think some people think it is a monetization thing. It's just a business. And I think that's where I think you and I are similar in, where it's I wouldn't treat celebrant work so much as a business. I treat it as it's this honor. You know what I mean? Whereas MC work, I'm a bit more it's not as that intense, because it's it's not marrying the couple. Whereas for celebrant work, I'm literally, I feel like this is a responsibility.
And there's different celebrants who offer different vibes, etc. But for me, it is an honor to be up there and to marry people, and I'm definitely I take that role seriously, I guess it's not, I don't make a mockery of what are we here for? For me it's we're here to marry two beautiful people who are in love, and here's their gorgeous.
No, it's so beautiful. So with the memorable parts from MC work, I feel like I've fallen into specializing in multicultural weddings. I don't know how, but I always book them.
Perfect.
And I love it. I love it so much, because obviously I'm multicultural and everything like that. So somehow I've ended up with that, but it's really beautiful because you get to see so many cultures coming together and collaborating. Honestly, I remember having a Greek and Sri Lankan wedding, which was amazing, seeing Sri Lankan people doing all the Greek, dancing to the Greek songs. I was like, what is happening here? I love it so much. So I'm loving that aspect so much.
Me too. And that's why I love a cultural inclusion in a wedding, which is why I asked you about that. I think that there's nothing more beautiful than uneducated guests about certain cultures being educated about a different culture. It's incredible. Anything, a tea ceremony, or I did a wedding recently where it was their culture to sort of kneel on pillows and sort of bow to their parents as a sign of respect and thanks for what they had done for them.
Yeah, beautiful.
As a parent myself, I'm like, wow, a job of a parent is hard, oh so hard. And if my kid on their wedding day honored me, I would fall to pieces. I fall to pieces thinking about it.
Very good. No, it's beautiful. So beautiful.
Now, do you have any favorite locations that you MC weddings at?
Ooh, I've been pretty fortunate to have at this stage emceed at a different place every single time because there's
Wow.
so many places to MC in Melbourne. There's so many. I wouldn't have necessarily a favorite place. I feel like instead of places, I get more excited about couples, like in their stories.
Yeah. And how do you
But
go about extracting that? Do you give them a questionnaire? Do you meet on Zoom?
yeah, so essentially we have a pre-meeting prior, but for example, that typically happens after they've booked me. But the other day I had a meeting already with a couple who just booked me. And again, we'll have another meeting as well prior to the wedding. But with them, I'll be delivering a questionnaire to get to know them a bit more. It just depends on the wedding.
Yeah.
Typically I love meeting them and just like, you know, having a chat and getting to know them and asking questions about what they value and going through their run sheet essentially and breaking things down. And I actually find that sometimes I end up helping them reconstruct it. So deconstruct it, reconstruct it again.
Right.
To make, as someone who's been married before, as you know, as well as that, but also done weddings,
Yeah.
I know what it's like, I guess, to see something that's fully packed and not being able to enjoy the present moment. So my goal really is with couples during our meetings is to get to know them, see what they value, but also ensure that their run sheet allows them to actually enjoy their wedding. That's my main goal, and that's what's included prior. And like with the meetings, you know, I can meet them once, sometimes I meet them twice. It just depends on what they need. I'm a bit flexible with that.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that they're comfortable.
Yes. Amazing. Now, our last question. Do you have any advice for couples looking to book an MC? Like sometimes people are like, do I need one? Do I not need one? Is it important? Do I just get Uncle Bill to do it?
I would say, and actually this is a good question because the couple that just booked me, they're having an intimate wedding, so about 20 people, and they were asking if they needed an MC, and I said it depends. Like if you have someone in your life that who understands what is required from someone being an MC, understands what needs to be done on the day. For example, I end up actually coordinating on the day itself with vendors, the venue, and also the bridal party, everything, right? So you kind of need someone who can be a jack of all trades, right? So if you have someone who knows how to do that and they can deliver well and they're confident to communicate, then I feel like they could be a potential person. But if you don't have that, I would advise get an MC. It would just make your day so much easier and you won't have to rely on other people who are there as a guest to stand up and, do jobs on the day itself. They can actually enjoy it and you won't be getting asked questions throughout the day. My goal as an MC is that I don't want to speak to you as a couple unless I'm introducing you.
Yeah.
Or, I want to be able to you enjoy your day. That should be the goal of the MC, just to like take control, lead it, everything.
Yes.
Just release.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I said that was the last question, but I actually have one more.
Yeah.
Are you also offering content creation, like iPhone content creation as a part of your side business or not yet? Or maybe have I just dropped a little bombshell for you?
Actually, that's a really good idea. I mean, I could. It
would be a great little add-on to you because you're already there,
Yeah, that could be a really, really good add-on. I've never thought about that.
You wait till you get your new phone, sister.
Yeah, it's coming. It's actually coming today. Oh my gosh, story.
Maybe it's an omen.
Story. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if it's relevant for the podcast. Essentially, my iPhone 13 Plus broke, and now I'm getting an iPhone 15 Pro Plus for like the same price. Anyway, that's
amazing. Maybe it was written in the stars that it would arrive on the same day that we record this podcast, and I dropped the bombshell of content creation.
That's a really good idea.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so funny because I fell into content creation. It just happened with modeling. It just became a requirement, and like brands I'd work with, part of my contracts with them as an ambassador or whatever I'm doing with them would be like, you need to be posting on social media or whatever. So it's become this job that I kind of fell into.
Amazing.
So it could be something I could offer.
You already have the skills.
Yeah, okay.
Such a multi-talented woman. Well, listen, I have loved chatting to you. You are incredible in all that you do and such a wealth of knowledge in the wedding world. And we're so lucky to have you on the Best Wedding app. As I said, we're going to write a little blog article about your wedding under the Real Weddings section that will have the handles to all of these amazing suppliers. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to share all the suppliers with you guys. Like, honestly, can't highly rate them enough. And for value, they're a really good price point too. So you don't need to spend, like, not saying that, not disvaluing their value, they're really good value for what they do as well. But
Yes.
like, you know, sometimes when people think about weddings, they think they have to spend so much money, but there's ways to save. So when they do the blog, hopefully I'll share more insights as well, how we were able to save as well. And the
Yeah.
suppliers we found that were at a really good price point that were beyond what we could ever imagine. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Friends, if you like what you've just heard, please like and share our podcast. We would absolutely love that. And of course, if you're planning your wedding, head to the Google Play Store or the App Store and download the Best Wedding app to plan your best day.